What's up, everybody? And welcome to round 10 of RN Fantasy MXers. Man, I can't believe we only got 2 races left before the outdoor season's over, and then we're on SMX playoffs, and then before you know it, we're right back to the 2025 Fantasy SX season. But before we get there, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've got Bud's Creek coming up here for round 10, and we got a lot to talk about. All right, so let's dive right into it here. Why do you want to be playing RN Fantasy MX? Well, because we give away amazing grand prizes at the end of the year. We do weekly prizes all throughout the season. And when you play fantasy, the points that you score, you can use as fantasy cash to spend on Rocky Mountain's website. It's free to play. Go to rnfantasymx.com. Even if you just sign up for this week, you can always win a weekly prize. But remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't miss out, because we're going to have fantasy for the playoffs, and then we're going to start all back over for the SX season for 2025. So get signed up if you haven't already. All right, here they are, grand prizes. This is why you're playing fantasy right here, folks. First place, KTM 300 SX, fully decked out, we're giving away. Second place gets a Gas G-Lite Trail 2.0 e-bike. We've got Ticket to Ride, MSR, Tusk, Recluse, Arrowhead Spending Spree, Alpine Stars, Motion Pro, and Attack Graphics, all giving out killer grand prizes at the end of the year. But we also do weekly prizes. Look, here's what's just up for grabs for your top 3 for this week alone. First place, MSR, full NXT Air gear set. Second place, a Matrix Concepts LS1 lift stand. Third place, GoPro Hero 12 camera. Speaking of prizes, let's talk about our leaderboard here. So far, overall this year, it is Dottie 969 leading the way with 720 points. Pretty healthy lead going into these last 2 rounds, kind of like Chase Sexton, because it's D Will at 707 in second, and then it's Keegs 510 with 705 points. Our weekly prize winners from last round, it was Travis 713 taking home the TLD SE composite helmet. R Sweetman 99 took home an FXR gear set, and Havoc 88 took home some Fastway Air EXT foot pegs. And as I said, 7 other weekly prizes went to 7 other winners. Not winters, winners. All right, here they are, results from your last race. It was none other than Chase Sexton putting it down, getting the overall, but Hunta split motos with him. Hunta went 1-2, Sexton went 2-1. Overall goes to the winner with the best result of the second race. But it was AP. I got the podium right, baby. AP, I know. I said I was going to put Roxon in third place from last week's show. I changed my mind. I came to my senses, realized he didn't have enough time on the bike. I was right. But it was AP for third. Dylan Ferrandis, finally another top 5 for him. Jason Anderson 5th. And then the wild card, it's Shane McElrath, not on a yellow bike. He is fired, folks. But he's hired for the Mad Parts Kawasaki, holding it down for, 13th overall. So good ride for Shane. All right, news and injuries. Tomac. Is he back? Should be back. Look at the entry list. Supposed to be back for Bud's Creek. But look, he's got less time on the bike than Cooper Webb did. We'll talk about Webb here in just a moment. Don't go putting Tomac in your top 5 just because he is Eli Tomac, and yes, he is beast mode, but that doesn't mean he's just going to show up in shape, ready to rock and roll. He's going to be there to get gate drops, to get some race laps underneath his belt, getting ready for the SMX playoffs, so don't get ahead of yourself. Cooper Webb, though, this breaks my heart. If y'all watched the race, you saw him. He crashed in Moto 2, and he fell and injured the exact thumb that he just recovered from. And in a post-race interview, he did say that he feels exactly how it did when he hurt it in Supercross. So he's going to get it checked out. I haven't seen an update yet, but be on the look for that. But let's just cross our fingers and pray that Cooper Webb did not re-injure that thumb, and hopefully we'll see him this weekend at Bud's Creek. Benny Bloss is still out with injury, so is Justin Barsha. I haven't seen if he's going to return or not. So again, keep a lookout for those guys. All right, here it is. Fox Racing Track Trends. Bud's Creek, located in southern Maryland. They've hosted a race every year since 1989, except for COVID. So a long history at Bud's Creek. Looking at the weather, looking good for this weekend. Really nothing too crazy to talk about. All right, folks, here they are, your 100% top contenders. Look, it's going to be short and sweet this week. We're starting to see a little pattern here. Chase Sexton, he was 6 seconds faster on lap 1 in Moto 2. He's the fastest rider on the track. He's gotten this, that's his 4th overall win in a row. You're going to put Chase Sexton to win, no reason not to. Hunta did look much better coming back from that break. Won that first moto, and shout out to him for holding off Sexton. That was an incredible moto battle. I love to see that. But he's been second overall in 5 of 9 races this year, so there's only one good, solid place to put Hunta. That's going to be second place overall, which leads me to my questions for Mr. Daniel Blair. One is for Hunter. This is for the other Honda rider, Chance Hymas. First question for Hunta. Salesman Hunter said on the podium how much he loves this new 2025 Honda 450. So my question is, what percentage of his comeback and that great ride do you put on the new bike versus just having 2 weeks off to mentally reset and heal physically? My second question is about Mr. Chance Hymas. Does he, having this breakout summer right now, having his first overall win, he was checked out in that first moto, is this putting extra pressure on Shimoda to perform, especially comes to playoffs? Let's hope he's not injured, because we saw his crash in that moto too. But all things considered, is Shimoda feeling the pressure to perform with his younger teammate Hymas stealing some of that spotlight? What do you got?
Wow, a Joe Shimoda question to kick things off. First off, I want to say I am super bummed for Joe. I thought he's been riding pretty good over the last month. Things are coming around. Does he win that moto? I don't know, but at least at a minimum, I think we're in for a good show. And then a weird little tip over that breaks his collarbone, which is just unfortunate. The collarbone is such a silly little bone in the body. It catches racers all the time. And for Joe, now he's out. And that's going to be difficult in itself because he's got to start all over as far as building momentum. But now you got this teammate in the truck who's been winning races and overalls and fastest qualifier, and everyone's kind of hyping him up because he's proving that he's really, really good. And that's a new dynamic for Joe because he is the expected winner and champion in the class. And Chance Hymas is not. He's supposed to be the guy that's just kind of getting his feet wet. But weird dynamic in the truck, but also I think probably pretty okay. Just the way they run over there. I'll bet you it glues together pretty solid with those boys. But it does put some more pressure on Joe Shimoda for Supercross because it's just another year that he wasn't able to get the championship that he is expected to win. He sat behind the Lawrence brothers for a couple years there. They're gone now. He's supposed to be the guy and just hasn't been able to push it over the finish line. So yes, extra pressure next year in Supercross, plus your teammate is breaking out. So tough for Joe. This is going to be a tough little valley for him to get out of. As far as the second question, I don't think the bike really played the biggest role, okay? Maybe the new freshness of the bike feels kind of cool, but at the same time, go back and watch early in the season. He was smashing dudes on the old bike, so I don't think that's it. I think it was purely the recovery from Redbud. Look back on that crash. It was really bad. Hunter's a tough guy. He's not going to admit anything. He's not going to sulk and be a victim, so I think he just kind of plowed through that and just fought through it, but really was probably affected by it. Give him a couple weeks off to rest, and he comes back, reset, and he was incredible. It was a great day of racing for him, and I don't think it was bike-related. I mean, other than maybe just the fun feel of a new bike, but yeah, go back and watch early in the season on the 2024, and he was doing special things on that too when he was fresh and healthy and not banged up from Redbud. So, nope, I'm not going to give any credit to the bike. I'm going to give all the credit to Hunter himself. He's the racer, and I don't think he got a lift on the motorcycle. I think the lift came from the rest.
All right, thank you, Mr. D. Blair. All right, back to our top contenders. Look, Aaron Plessinger is now 2 points clear of Justin Cooper for third overall in this championship. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If that's a big deal for these guys. There's a lot of money on the line. Justin Cooper, he's trying to get a contract for next year. He wants third overall, so look for those battles in these last 4 motos. But Aaron Plessinger, he's your best pick for third. Justin Cooper, this is kind of tough for me because if you look at him and Anderson, they're going back and forth. Justin Cooper has the better average finishes for both Moto 1 and Moto 2, but in the last 3 of the 4 races, Anderson has beat Justin Cooper in the overall position. So right now, Anderson is the better rider, even with Cooper having the better average finishes. So what are you going to do? I don't know. For me personally, I'm going to go off momentum. Stats don't lie. I'm going to put Anderson for 4th overall this week. I'm going to put Jay Coop for 5th. And then the last rider, if you want to take a little bit of a risk, because he did look so freaking good in that Moto 2 in his first podium finish of the year, was Dylan Ferrandis. He just got 4th overall. The hard part, though, is that Ferrandis has historically been really good at Unadilla. He did the same thing last year on that Star Racing Yamaha, where he was kind of that 4th, 5th place guy all year long, and then had a breakout ride at Unadilla. So I'm not going to read too much into it. I'm still going to keep Dylan around that 6th, 7th place range, going back to Bud's Creek. I hope he proves me wrong, but those are your top contenders. All right, folks, here it is. Bell Racing Wildcard Watch. It's 15th this weekend. Here are my top picks. Shane McElrath, the newly fired and rehired He is average Moto 2 finish is 15.5. It's a little worse than that in Moto 1, but he does have 3 overalls better than 15th this season. But you got to remember, Tomac coming back is going to bump him back 1 more spot. So I think McElrath is a good spot for that. Mr. Marshall Weltin got a flat front tire last week in that second moto, was on his way to have a good result. But he's finished better than 14th overall in 6 of 9 races this year. But Tomac coming back, bumps him back 1 spot. So for Welton, I think it's going to take a little bit more work to get that 15th than, say, Shane McElrath, but he's not a bad choice. Chiz is going to chiz. 19, 13, 13, his last 3 overall finishes, bump him back 1 spot. He's right around that 14th, 15th place range. And then last but not least, Colt Nichols. He went 23, 14th for 17th overall. I don't know what happened in that first moto. Maybe it was just the new bike, shaking it down, horrible start. You tell me, but 17th overall, I think he's going to improve each week. So 15th for Colt, I think is a really good spot for him this weekend. And then if you want to go a little bit crazy, Romain Pep is also a good pick for your wild card. All right, folks, here they are, my Motion Pro lock them in. Look, call me predictable, I don't know, but all I know is that I'm second right now overall in my own Rocky Mountain group here, and I've got some money on the line, so I got to stick with the consistency here. I'm going Chase Sexton, Hunta, Plessinger, Anderson, Jay Coop for 5th, and I'm going to go Colt Nichols for the wild card in 15th. Look, he got 17th overall, but here's the deal. If McElrath, I'm sure a lot of you by now have kind of heard the stories, but if Nichols has replaced McElrath and McElrath just beat him in the overall last week, I'll tell you what, Colt better improve, okay? So I'm putting my faith in him. He needs to beat McElrath. That's all I know. So that's why I say Colt's going to get better this weekend. He's going to get 15th overall and get me those wild card points. Mr. D. Blair, who do you got?
All right, I'm going with a combination of my heart and my head this week. I'm going to go Hunter Lawrence for the win. I think he gets it done and stops Chase Sexton's streak of 4. Because I think Chase Sexton's going to go into management mode a little bit here to try to wrap up this title, so I'll go Sexton 2nd. Let's go Aaron Plessinger 3rd over Eli Tomac 4th in a bar-banging battle Moto 2. I think something's going to get with those 2 Moto 2, but AP gets him. And I'll go with Jason Anderson in the 5th spot. And for the wild card, I'm just a Grant Harlan guy this week. So I'm going to throw Grant Harlan in there because I just wanted to say his name. And when you're doing that good, you deserve to be recognized. So Grant Harlan for the wild card. Those are my picks. Probably going to get smoked like I do every week.
All right, Mr. Blair, thank you very much for that. So that does it for round 10 of the RM Fantasy MXpert show. But I'd love to hear your comments. Comment down below. Talk about maybe some of the Deegan Hymas little chit-chat going on. Are they cooking too much? I don't know. Seems like Deegan just likes to make enemies. He thrives off of that. You tell me. But anyway, I'd love to hear your picks. Put those down below. Get signed up to play RM Fantasy MX if you haven't already. Get subscribed to the Rocky Mountain Fantasy YouTube channel. Let's go racing, have some fun, score some points, get some fantasy cash, and spend it on Rocky Mountain's website. We'll see you next week.